This is a bit of a difficult video to pitch to you because some people love this sort of stuff while others absolutely hate it. We're talking about YouTube numbers, analytics. Whether you like them or loathe them, you cannot avoid them, and they could help determine the growth of your channel. So let's jump into the shallow end of this topic.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.com.
Alright then, for those of you who hate analytics, here is the abridged version. Impressions on YouTube leads to click-through rate. That leads to views. Views leads to watch time. In some cases, that will lead to subscribers. From a watch time, that leads to YouTube sharing your content with more of the YouTube audience. Sometimes. There you are, thanks for watching, goodbye. Although it does make me wonder why you clicked on this video in the first place. Hello, I'm Rob and welcome to vidIQ, the YouTube tool and channel that aims to educate you on your YouTube journey and chart that success in 2019. Throughout this series, we want to help you get more views and more subscribers to ultimately grow your channel. To watch the full playlist, click over here. And if you want to keep up to date with all of the awesome stuff we do here at vidIQ every single week, including a live stream where we audit your channels, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Also, one final thing on a completely unrelated note, have you noticed there's more light in this area of the screen now? It's because I forgot to close the curtains, and now we've got lots of natural light streaming into the office, so I need to fix that or we're going to have all sorts of continuity issues as this video progresses. Bear with me. That's fixed it. Alright then, let's get down to business. This right here is a thumbnail and title from a Philip DeFranco video. He's a fantastic video creator and I highly recommend watching some of his stuff. We are seeing this on the YouTube homepage, but it could also appear in search results, subscription feeds, watch history, the trending page, in recommendations and in video playlists. Very simply put, this is classed as an impression. Every time someone sees more than 50% of a thumbnail on screen, that video gets one impression. What impressions effectively represent on YouTube is free advertising for your content. Every time that thumbnail and title is put in front of a potential viewer, they could click on it and become an actual viewer. We will circle back round to the importance of impressions later on in this video, but to summarise, all analytics start with impressions. I mean, somebody has to see the thumbnail and the title in order to click on it. So where do we find out this information? Strap yourselves in, folks, we're going to take a look at your analytics for your channel. In order to do this, on most YouTube pages, you will see your channel icon in the top right hand corner. Click there and then click on Creator Studio. If it looks like this, which is the old version, you'll want to make sure you go to the beta studio, so click on the link in the top left hand corner here, and eventually you should end up with a page that looks something like this. The reason I'm sending you to the new channel analytics page, or Creator Studio as YouTube likes to call it, is because impressions are not available in the old analytics pages. So to look at your channel analytics, down the left hand side you have some options here. Click on Analytics. This will show you your channel analytics, and along the top here you have several tabs, and you want to click on Reach Viewers, and this will give you a breakdown of impressions over the last 28 days for your channel. So as an example, the thumbnails from our videos here at vidIQ were seen 6.7 million times over the last 28 days. To really understand what impressions means, we'll return to this later on, but I do want to show you a couple more things while we're in the analytics. If you click on Overview and then click on the top videos box, this will list your best performing videos, and you can see a rundown of individual impressions for different videos here. So something to track if you want a more granular view of how videos are performing with impressions. Now, the impressions analytics in isolation mean absolutely nothing. You could have 1 billion impressions, but if nobody ever clicks on any of your thumbnails and watches your content, then it's meaningless. However, if somebody does see a thumbnail and decides to click on it, that converts the impression into a view. And this is known as click-through rate. Time for a very basic example. Let's go back to our Philip DeFranco video. And let's say this thumbnail was seen 11 million times, or 11 million impressions. We can see the video has 1.1 million views, and those views represent how many times the video was clicked on. Hence, a very simple calculation of 10% click-through rate, from impressions to views. You will find your click-through rate in the same place you find impressions on your channel analytics, under Reach Viewers. If you click on the box, it will change the graph to represent what your click-through rate is. Ours over the last 28 days is is 4.2%. In the flow of YouTube metrics, click-through rate is the first important number to start analysing. It basically grades your thumbnails and your titles. If they're more intriguing, enticing, interesting, exciting, people are going to click on them and your click-through rate will go up. Now at this point, a lot of people want to ask the question, well, what is a good click-through rate for my channel? YouTube will tell you the average is between 2 and 10%. But if you approach click-through rate analysis from this point of view, you're doing it all wrong. And this is the reason why. This time last year, our click-through rate, or CTR, was at 2.7%. And we knew we needed to improve that. So we worked a lot on our titling strategy and especially on our thumbnails, so that they went from looking like this to looking like this. Personal taste may lead some of you to prefer the thumbnail on the left, but I'm convinced the majority of you will prefer the thumbnail on the right. The result of these improvements, as you saw earlier, is that our CTR now sits at around 4.2%, which doesn't sound much. But when you calculate the actual difference, our videos are now 55% more likely to be clicked on than this time last year. This is why your video title and thumbnail is so important. You could make the greatest video content in the world, but if you don't spend enough time trying to convince a potential viewer to click on that little box on a YouTube page, you could be missing out on thousands, millions of views for a relatively small amount of work. And of course, we're delighted from where we've come from, but we still want to go further. We want to continue to increase our click-through rate. So that's what you should do. Look at your click-through rate today, set that as your benchmark and aim to improve on it with every single video that you make. So impressions represents how often your content is advertised to an audience, and CTR represents how often that audience clicks on those advertisements to watch your content. And that leads us to views. Now yes, views are very good as a headline statement. This video went viral and got 5 million views, but from a video creator's perspective, views aren't really that interesting. Views are kind of like the beam at the top of a lighthouse. Everybody can see that, but they don't appreciate all of the foundations and fundamentals that go into how that beam operates. And in the past, views would have been super important, but the YouTube algorithm is a little more sophisticated than that. Essentially, a view represents a visit to a video, but it doesn't tell you how long the visitor was watching that video. And that's where we get to perhaps the most important analytic on YouTube, watch time. Watch time literally is the amount of time each viewer spends watching a video. As a simple example, video A is 2 minutes long, and let's say that each viewer who watches the video views the entire video. Don't worry, we'll come back to view duration in a minute. That means if a video is watched 1,000 times for 100% of its length, that equals 2,000 minutes of total watch time. But let's be honest, nobody ever watches an entire YouTube video, right? So let's make this a little more realistic. Video B is a 10-minute video, but on average, people only watch half of a video, which leaves us with a view duration of 5 minutes. Video B also only gets half of the views video A did, but when you times 5 minutes by 500 views, you still end up with more watch time than video A. Now granted, this is an oversimplification of watch time and it gets a lot more complicated, and I know there's some of you asking questions such as, well, should I just make longer videos? Remember, we're jumping into the shallow end of analytics in this particular video, and we'll touch on watch time throughout this series later on in the year. There's some very simple logic that we all need to follow. The longer you spend watching videos, the happier YouTube is. The longer you spend on the platform, the more opportunities YouTube has to serve you with adverts. Everybody wins in that situation. And with all that in mind, let's go back to our analytics. Currently, we are on the Reach Viewers tab. If I click on the Overview tab, this will give me the total watch time for the vidIQ channel over the last 28 days, which is 1.3 million minutes. We've also just talked about average view duration of your videos. So if you want to see that statistic, the Interest Viewers tab is where you want to go. And currently on vidIQ, we're at 2 minutes 32 per video. Now, obviously, this doesn't take into account the length of videos, so if you wanted to go into more detail, you would have to click on a particular video. So we're going to go to the video list here, and we'll choose one of the videos from the list. Let's go for this most recent one, how to grow your channel fast in 2019. Then click on Analytics. Then go to interest viewers here, and it can tell us that the view duration for this video is 4 minutes 13, so a lot higher than average on the channel. Now, generally speaking, longer videos obviously means more watch time. And if you can get your watch time above, say, 8 to 10 minutes, that seems to be a sweet spot for YouTube promoting your content more. But that's not always the case. Remember, that's a general rule. For example, there is a channel called Lucas the Spider, which has nearly 3 million subscribers, and every single video on their channel is less than a minute. And yet their videos have tens of millions of views. Now, one obvious reason for this is because the content is amazing. The animation is on a Disney level scale. And another potential reason might be because of session watch time. Yeah, we're getting a little bit deeper now into analytics. Let me explain this one. While one Lucas the Spider video might be 50 seconds long, 2 videos makes it more than a minute. 4 videos makes it more than 2 minutes, and so on. If your content keeps a viewer on YouTube watching more videos, this is known as session watch time. And since kids love watching the same thing over and over again, driving their parents insane, you can bet that despite these being short form videos, they will generate billions of minutes of watch time. Now, people will binge watch your content if they fall in love with it, and that means watching every single video from start to finish. And this is where we start to look at average view duration. As with click-through rate, we've worked hard at vidIQ over the last year to improve our average view duration, moving from 1 minute 38 seconds to 2 minute 32 seconds. On average, people are watching our content 43% longer than they were last year. So as before, rather than trying to set yourself a lofty, ambitious goal, set a current benchmark and aim to improve on that. But all of this is at a channel level. To get the full story, you need to dig into your individual videos. To do this, click on the videos link and choose a video that you want to look at the average view duration for. We're going to choose this video for this example, and then go to analytics. And what you'll have here on the overview screen is audience retention, which is showing for this current video, it's watched an average of 2 minutes 48 seconds, which is 52% of the video's total length. Now again, I'm going to generalize somewhat, but if you can get your average audience retention over 50% on your videos, you're generally doing a pretty good job. And again, you could use this as a benchmark. Aim for a point where you can get 50% audience retention on your videos, and then increase the video length and still try and maintain that audience retention, and your watch time will start to grow. So we've talked about impressions, we've talked about click-through rate, we've touched on views, and we've gone into detail about watch time, view duration, and audience retention. But what does all of this collectively mean? Well, this is where we come to something super critical for your channel, and yet it is so tiny. A single orange sliver of a line, which basically tells you how much YouTube likes your channel. For this one, let's start from the beginning because it is quite an important analytic. From the dashboard, click on Analytics, and then go to the Reach Viewers section again at the top. And this is the funnel that you want, impressions and how they lead to watch time. This neatly shows all the important analytics we've already talked about, impressions, click-through rate, views and watch time. But what's new here is this golden nugget of information. How often YouTube recommends your content versus how often viewers are seeking out your content. Remember that impressions represent free advertising from YouTube, so you want as much of this line as orange as possible. And if you click this information icon, it will break this line down even further. Recommended on watch page, recommended on home pages. That's where your channel will grow the most organically, reaching new audiences every single day. And look what it says right at the bottom. You can increase the chance of YouTube suggesting your content by increasing your click-through rate and your video watch time. Makes me wonder why I didn't use this line at the very beginning of the video, and I would have saved us all 15 minutes. But hey, I need the watch time. If YouTube likes both your click-through rate and watch time, it can have a dramatic effect on your videos. This is data from a single video we published before Christmas on PewDiePie, and YouTube shared it everywhere, helping it to over 350,000 views. That's more than 10 times the normal number of views we might expect. And remember what I said earlier, while views may be the headline statement, it's the high click-through rate with the high audience retention that probably has a lot to do with why this video was so successful. Now, I appreciate that YouTube analytics can be quite daunting, especially if you've never used them before or numbers aren't your thing. So I hope through this video you've learned some of the terminology and the important numbers. As way of a homework, do let us know in the comments below what your channel click-through rate is is and your average view duration. And don't worry, I know we've barely touched views in this video and we haven't looked at subscribers at all in terms of YouTube analytics. We're going to save those for dedicated videos later on in this series. Now, if this video has left you wanting more from YouTube analytics, don't forget to try the vidIQ channel audit tool. Once you open that screen, it's going to give you a massive information that can really help your channel. It's kind of like having a YouTube consultant 24/7. If you haven't already downloaded vidIQ, make sure to do so. It will help you research YouTube, analyze videos, audit your channel, as I've just said, and take actionable steps to help grow your channel. If you want to see more from this series that's going to chart your success on YouTube in 2019, the full playlist is here. For more awesome vidIQ stuff, there's another playlist down here. Enjoy the rest of your video making day. We'll see you on either of those videos, unless you want to watch this. Come on, YouTube! Like me more!